All right, before we get into it, I want to show you guys this clip from a newscast from back in the day, right, several years ago, talking about cloud seeding.
Water officials in the Inland Empire want to make it rain.
And they're using science in the process called cloud seeding to increase the amount of rain in some areas and help boost regional water supplies. Eyewitness News reporter Leticia Waters explains.
Water is a precious resource and one completely dependent on the climate, which can vary from year to year. So water officials are turning their sights to cloud seeding as a way to squeeze more water out of passing storms.
The idea is to use particles, in this case silver iodide, and have them generate or enhance more precipitation in clouds so it falls as snow and ends up augmenting our water supplies.
Josh Mosier is the general manager of the Santa Ana Watershed Project Authority, which includes 5 water districts in both the Inland Empire and Orange County. He says the project aims to increase precipitation by 5 to 15%. The 4-year pilot program involves using 15 ground-based seeding generators located near the base of mountains.
Those are the headwaters, if you will, for our water supply. So it falls as snow, it eventually melts, and comes down existing rivers such as the Santa Ana River, which runs through our watershed. And then that's where we capture.
Now, cloud seeding has been used in California since the 1950s. And cloud seeding, if you didn't know, is when they add particulates to the sky, such as silver iodide, to increase the amount of water that falls as rain. And a lot of people have been bringing to everyone's attention lately that there's been a lot of spraying in the skies. Leave a comment down below if you noticed a lot of lines in the skies that just are there a lot that you never really noticed before. Now here's an article from 2016 from the Weather Channel. Clouds seeded during recent rainfall in California, officials said. This is in 2016 of March. In Los Angeles County, this week's rainfall was beneficial to fighting the drought in Southern California, but officials wanted to ensure they maximize the amount of precipitation that fell during the event. So they seeded clouds with silver iodide, according to the LA Times, in an effort to draw even more rainfall from the skies. But this controversial practice may not be as fruitful as local officials insist. The process of weather modification through cloud seeding has been proven successful at increasing rainfall rates, but also at lessening potential hail damage from storms, even to clear fog, according to the American Meteorological Society. The practice dates as far back as the 1940s. According to the North American Weather Consultants, the Utah-based group that is contracted by the Los Angeles County to seed the skies during some weather events. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, yeah, they're seeding the clouds, but then when your friends tell you that, man, look at those planes up there with all that stuff behind them, and it just lingers and turns into other clouds and it blocks out the sun, and they say you're crazy, that's just vapor behind a plane. So it takes 2 seconds for you to do some investigating to know that California has been cloud seeding for a long time.
But not a positive one. Now 26% of the state is in the extreme drought category, and that happened right here, kind of on the west side of the Sacramento Valley, starting to eke into those coastal ranges a little bit. But there is some rain and some snow on the way. Our next weather maker is just off the coast of Alaska, and it will be scooting in over the next couple of days, and it'll bring all this rain, and some of that will be snow to Northern California. Let's talk about how precipitation forms in these clouds, because it's going to lead to a highly requested topic. It condenses around this nucleus, and when enough of it does that, we end up getting a raindrop or a snowflake, and this happens over and over and over again in the clouds, and that's what helps create, or what really serves to create, the precipitation that we see fall out of the sky, either as snow or as rain. There's a theory that says if we could create or put more condensation nuclei in clouds, we would get more precipitation out of it. This is known as cloud seeding. This is something a lot of people have talked about in the comments, something that we hear a lot about in emails and comments on YouTube and Facebook. And
extracting moisture through cloud seeding, and there's no question about this. We also show that we are really not extracting a ton of snowfall or a ton of precipitation, and that's why this is one reason why we have had such a hard time really pinpointing it down over the last 20 years, because we cannot really produce a massive amount of snow. The idea behind cloud seeding is you have clouds that would naturally not precipitate or would not naturally not produce precipitation. So specifically, we are targeting orographic wintertime clouds.
Katja Friedrich is a professor at the University of Colorado studying microphysical processes in clouds. This includes the study of cloud seeding.
So Idaho Power and Idaho, they are basically seeding the entire winter. And we would piggyback with our research instrumentation and say, okay, whenever they're seeding, we are basically monitoring the atmosphere and see how the silver iodide that they release in the aircraft, how does it actually mix in the clouds.
You can see that they have been cloud seeding. It says the Santa Ana Watershed Project Authority conducted a feasibility study in 2020 to assess the potential benefits of cloud seeding and increase the water supply of the Santa Ana watershed. As a result of the study, the Santa Ana Watershed Cloud Seeding Pilot Program is underway for 4 years, starting on November 15th, 2023.
Following a very wet season, with our reservoirs refilled above average levels, the state is reaping the benefits.
And now it is News Reporter David Gonzalez spoke with an expert on how the recent rain and snow is relieving the state's drought.
After 2 very wet seasons in California, AccuWeather experts are forecasting no widespread droughts in the state through 2025.
That sets California up to be in a very good position here in terms of water supply over the next couple of years.
AccuWeather Chief Meteorologist Jonathan Porter says El Nino has directed storms at California. That has provided a lot of rain and refilled reservoirs. Right now, 6 of the state's most important reservoirs sit at or are above the historical average water levels.
That gives us confidence that water is not going to be a scarce issue here in the short term in California.
Last week's monster storm in the Sierra Mountains dumped up to 12 feet of snow, securing a healthy snowpack. But Porter says they'll have to keep an eye on warmer temperatures that could impact how fast the snow melts.
And that can result in some concerns about localized flooding as all of that snowpack melts into the creeks and streams and eventually rivers and gets into the reservoirs.
AccuWeather says even with all the rain.
If you guys remember, just last year in California, they had flooding. February 24th, 2024, the Los Angeles Times put out this article that the unfounded conspiracy theory of cloud seeding is to blame for California's storms and flooding. Man, we have short memories. Now, you heard earlier in the clip that the cloud seeding places are at the base of the mountains, and they show you some things that are actually on the ground that produce cloud seeding. But I will also encourage you to look into how they cloud seed in the air behind airplanes.
How the silver iodide that they release in the aircraft, how does it actually mix in the clouds?
Here's a quick screenshot of the program. It says cloud seeding from the air is a weather modification technique that involves releasing particles into clouds to increase precipitation. And here is clearly a plane outfitted to do said cloud seeding. I want you guys to know that shortly after that rain incident in California where they had the flooding, they actually stopped the cloud seeding. So there hasn't been any cloud seeding going on in California for over 8 months. So oddly enough, the headlines are coming out now that with negligible rain in the last 8 months, Southern California swings toward drought. So what did we learn from this video? We learned that they've been cloud seeding for a long time, since the 1940s, and so everything that you see with your own eyes is actually real. We also learned that they've been cloud seeding in California at least since the 1940s, and they put a pilot program together in 2022, and they were going to cloud seed until 2027. We know that in last year in February that California was experiencing mudslides and flooding, and they got all of their reservoirs all topped off and nice and juicy, and all of the weather people declared that there should be no drought all the way through 2025. Also learned that they actually do put stuff in the atmosphere to create rain. It's kind of like playing God, but I digress. And I don't know what those chemicals are actually going to do to anything, but if you watched my video yesterday, you could clearly see the part of the play is to get the trees to lose their leaves. I have a lot of trees out here in our area that are dying from the top down. It's very weird to see, and there's a lot of it happening, actually, to be honest with you, enough to where you actually notice it. So keep an eye on your area and see if you see trees dying from the top down. And just I wanted to bring this to your attention. California had stopped their seeding, right? They stopped trying to create moisture in the atmosphere, and this is where we're at right now. So as soon as they stopped, California swung into a drought, which is not supposed to happen. They had all their water reservoirs up and the ground was pretty good and wet, but here we are. All right, share this video with your friends so they can A, learn that there is a such thing as spraying stuff in the atmosphere to try to control the weather. And they can also dry you out. They can also make it wet. They also have tornado capabilities and hurricane capabilities. A 2-second search on Google, if you type in those type of patents, will reveal to you all kinds of knowledge. All right, share this video with your friends. Make sure you hit that thumbs up and that you are subscribed, because YouTube is unsubscribing people from our channel. And we'll see you guys on the next video. It's getting crazy out there.